All right. LaHood is defending part of the Department of Transportation called NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. You're going to hear that acronym a lot. And there have been a lot of allegations that NHTSA is more or less in bed with the auto manufacturers, in this case Toyota, and hasn't been aggressive enough with them. Well, a member of that committee who's managed to slip out and join us on the phone for a couple of minutes, we really appreciate it, is Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer. Congressman Luetkemeyer, Republican from Missouri's 9th Congressional District over around Columbia and then up toward the Iowa border. Congressman Luetkemeyer, thank you very, very much for being with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
What do you want to hear from Toyota's chairman?
Well, I think we've got a couple of Toyota plants there in the manufacturing plants, parts plants there in the St. Louis area, and I think that those folks are doing a great job, and I think their quality control is probably okay. I think what we're concerned about is whether Toyota knew they had a problem and didn't correct it quickly enough, or whether they didn't work with the automobile oversight group called NHTSA quickly enough, and whether there was full documentation and openness about the problem. And if there wasn't, then we've got a problem. If they, through their normal protocols of reviewing instances of problems with their cars, it didn't raise high enough to be on their radar to look at. Maybe they need to review their protocols. So there's just basically, I think, we need to find out exactly what they knew, when they knew it, and what their response was. And with the automobile administrative group that oversees this actually was in communication with them and received the correct and full disclosure of the situation.
Now, you mentioned NHTSA. That's the one of those wonderful D.C. acronyms, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Right. There have been critics who've said that NHTSA is entirely too cozy in this case with Toyota, and that proper oversight really wasn't exercised at all. Your thoughts?
Well, that's the reason for the hearing, to find out if that actually happened. If at this point I'm going to keep an open mind, and I want to hear both sides of this and see if Toyota did the right thing of contacting them when it raised concerns among themselves, if their protocols in place indicated that there was enough of a situation here to be addressed, that they gave the information to NHTSA, and if they did, was it full disclosure, and if so, did NHTSA then handle the situation properly, and if they did, we really don't have a problem here. It's something that probably both of them then mishandled or didn't see the concern about, although in this situation, these things, these particular recalls seem to not have been necessarily something that has caused tremendous problems, although there have been some problems, and it's been pretty isolated in certain areas of the country as well as the rest of the world. So let's get all the information on the table, and then we'll sit down and make a good judgment on it.
Now, yesterday when folks testified about the problems they have, what was your reaction to the testimony yesterday?
Well, I was busy yesterday. I didn't get a chance to hear the testimony because it was in a different committee than mine.
Oh, I see. My apologies.
So I've been busy with my own committees, and today the committee that I sit on, the Government Oversight and Reform Committee here in the House, is going to have the president of Toyota and the North American president as well in front of them, and we'll have the NHTSA folks as well. And so we'll get at the bottom of this and see what the testimony, where it leads us, and go from there.
Yeah, it's interesting that this has become a lot more than an automotive recall. You've got Toyota, which had a legendary reputation for quality. It's now larger than General Motors. You've got people in this country feeling squeezed because the U.S. auto industry has been shrinking, and obviously you've got a lot of international media interest there. I imagine you've got probably as many reporters from Japan as you have from the United States. It's interesting that what congressmen like you have to do at a point like this where you're looking at one thing, that is what led to these recalls, what did Toyota know, and when did they know it? And yet it's put on a stage where it seems a lot of the concerns are a lot bigger than that. That is U.S.-Japanese relations, the state of the American auto industry, and all that other sort of stuff kind of mixed in the background.
Well, I think sometimes that some of this is a little overblown. I'm not sure it's going to go so far as U.S.-Japanese relationships, but I think they're a major player within our economy, no doubt about it. Number one car manufacturer in the world, and I think part of the problem may be that the fact that they are now on top, and when you're on top, everybody comes after you with any sort of, and that may be what's going on here. I don't know. Again, I want to keep an open mind and let's let the information flow and see where that leads us. But I know that that's always a situation where when you're on top, people scrutinize you more, and anything that happens is something that you've got to respond to in a sort of in an almost overkill situation. And in talking with some of the dealers and how Toyota's actually handled this thing at the technical level, at the dealership level with the people, I mean, they have done a great job from trying to get on top of it at this point. Now, prior to this, that's where the question is whether they were responded quickly enough and whether whether it was handled properly. And that's what we'll find out today.
What kind of things have you been hearing from your constituents who are Toyota dealers or maybe work with Toyota that, hey, look, we're moving as fast as we can, doing as much as we can, but we feel kind of overwhelmed, or what's the sense you get from them?
Well, I actually spent most of my Saturday morning at a Toyota dealership and going over with them what Toyota is doing from the standpoint of the relationship they're having with the dealers, what they're being told to do, how they're being told to handle it, and then actually getting a briefing from the mechanic himself on how he's addressing the different, the foot pedal problem and the acceleration problem and the software problem with the Prius. I mean, they took me through each one of the problems, showed me what the problem was, how they're fixing it, what the and the reaction of the people. And most people, when they're told what the situation is, they're very accommodating. Very, very few people having any problems with what's going on. In fact, the dealers probably are having more trouble getting people in to get it fixed than what you would normally think, because I think most people, after they find out that it's something that's in their mind is not bothering them, their car doesn't have that problem, they're a little reluctant to take the time out to go get it fixed. So at this point, the dealers are doing a great job of addressing all these concerns, getting the cars in as quickly as possible and getting them fixed as quickly as possible. The fixes are very simple. It doesn't take very long to get them fixed, get your car back on the road. So, and the dealers are looking at it as a great opportunity to, again, sell themselves and their company. And I think that's what, as a dealer, they need to be doing, is looking at it as a way to show that they continue to earn the trust of the people by responding to this in a very positive way, getting on it as fast as possible, giving the great service that it takes to make it work. And so I think that end of it is going well. It's just that we've got to make sure that the Toyota folks handle this correctly. And they, at this point, I know Toyota is taking it very seriously from the standpoint they shut their whole manufacturing system down for a week while they could get a handle on this and make sure that they knew exactly what the problem was and how to handle it. So, again, from that point forward, they've done a great job. Previous to that, that's where our concern is. That's where our focus is.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's my final question. I mean, I think it's important to differentiate the investigation, which is not of Toyota dealers themselves. They have nothing to do with this. This is of Toyota, the corporate Toyota.
Yeah, absolutely. The dealers and in fact, the manufacturing folks, and we've got, like I say, a couple of plants there in the St. Louis area. Those folks are doing a great job, exactly what they need to do. There may be a couple engineering problems with the way the cars were put together, and then Toyota's lack of acknowledgement, perhaps. Again, I don't want to presuppose what's going on here, but I think that we'll find out whether they handled it correctly, and if they did, we'll pat them on the back, and if they didn't, we'll certainly tell them they need to be doing a better job in the future.
Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer, who's on the House Oversight Committee that is looking into Toyota today. Congressman, a real pleasure. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Charles. Always a pleasure.